Hey, what's going on?
Oh yeah.
This is the Scarcity Studios YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. And this video is sponsored by Maurice Andrews Solicitors, Birmingham. Get in touch today for the best legal advice and representation. On July the 18th at Woolwich Crown Court, Deborah Mason, 65 years old, was convicted of being the mastermind dubbed the Queen Bee, and she controlled 7 couriers. Only one of them was male, and she's believed to have imported nearly a tonne of cocaine and distributed it within 7 months around the UK. The team in total were jailed for 106 years and 6 months behind bars. They orchestrated a sophisticated operation that flooded the UK with drugs, and they made £1,000 a day per person to fuel their lavish lifestyles. The police pursued them and used digital breadcrumbs that led to their downfall, and at the heart of the operation was Deborah Mason, a grandmother-like figure from Tufnell Park who ran her drug network with chilling precision. She recruited relatives into the high-stakes criminal venture, and between April and November 2023, her team, including 6 women and 1 man, crisscrossed across the UK, delivering cocaine from Harwich Port to cities like Bradford, Leicester, Birmingham, Bristol and Cardiff in Wales. Their operation was a well-oiled machine, leveraging hired cars and encrypted messaging applications to evade detection from the police. Mason, the ringleader, was no stranger to extravagance. She splurged her drug profits on a £400 Gucci belt and lead for her cat, and she had luxury garden furniture and took exotic holidays. Her couriers followed suit, indulging in designer goods and plush hotel stays, all bankrolled off their illicit earnings of distributing cocaine. Detective Constable Jack Crawshaw, who led the investigation, described the operation as extremely profitable, but doomed by the Metropolitan's determination to unravel the whole network. They used a mix of cool data analysis and old-school surveillance. Officers tracked the group's every movement, and one pivotal moment for the investigation came on the 20th of April 2023, when Mason was spotted leaving her Crayford Road home at 4:30 a.m, driving a hired car to Harwich Port to collect a cocaine shipment. Within 20 minutes she was back on the road, and the group used the encrypted mobile phone app Signal, and it proved to be their downfall. When police sifted through the messages after they was arrested, they uncovered thousands of messages incriminating them in drug deals, and deleted text messages revealed a pattern of cover-ups, proving the group knew exactly what they were doing and they were trying to make as much money as possible. Everybody except one person was arrested by May 2024. Anita Slaughter was arrested in November after being identified through the messages. An 11-week trial at Woolwich Crown Court laid bare the scale of the operation. On April the 28th, 2025, Deborah Mason, Roseanne Mason, Chloe Hodgkin, Lily Bright, Demi Bright and Anita Slaughter were convicted of conspiracy to supply Class A drugs. The lone male courier and another accomplice faced the same fate. On sentencing day, Mason received the heaviest penalty of 20 years in prison. Her co-conspirators shared the remaining decades, a collective punishment reflecting the havoc that was wrought by the operation. The Specialist Prosecutor Robert Hutchinson of the Crown Prosecution Service said this was no ordinary family. Instead of nurturing and caring for their relatives, Deborah Mason recruited them to establish a profitable criminal enterprise that would ultimately put them all behind bars. I look forward to hearing what viewers have to say on this story. Don't forget to drop a comment, and if you're in the live premiere at the moment, please like the video as well. It really does help to get the stories out there. This next story involves 2 men from Coventry and the attempted importation of 50 kilos of cocaine, estimated to be valued at £4 million. The 2 friends have been sentenced to 24.5 years in prison for their plot to pick up the drugs from a light aircraft and sell it around the country.
Step out of the car! Look at me! Hands up! Walk towards me! Walk towards me! Stop! Down on your knees! On your stomach! Hands out in front of you now! Hands out in front of you! Do not move! Stay there! Stay there! Stay down! Face down! Do not look at them! Face down!
A National Crime Agency investigation was monitoring Richard David Farmer, 39 from Coventry, when he drove to meet the light aircraft which had landed at Dean Thorpe Airfield in Corby, Northamptonshire on the 23rd of February 2022. A black wheeled suitcase was brought from the plane and placed into Farmer's car at the edge of the runway. When Farmer exited the field, the car was stopped by police from Northamptonshire and 50 brown tape packages were discovered inside a suitcase. The drugs, which weighed 50 kilos, had a street value of 4 million, and the NCA examined Farmer's phone and they found incriminating evidence linking him to his co-conspirator Blaine Harvey, who was from Coventry also. The pair had been in regular contact and Harvey appeared to be waiting away from the airfield to meet Farmer after the cocaine had been collected. Investigators established that Harvey would help Farmer move the drugs around the areas, including Bedfordshire, Cambridgeshire, Northamptonshire, Coventry, Kent and Essex. Harvey was arrested on the 7th of April 2022. He denied being concerned in the importation of 50 kilos of cocaine, but was convicted on the 16th of July 2025 after an 8-day trial at Northampton Crown Court. They were sentenced at the same court. Farmer was given 12 years and Harvey was sentenced to 12 years and 6 months. The plane had arrived in the UK from Belgium and it continued on its journey to Ireland, and on arrival 3 men from Sweden and Lithuania were arrested by the Garda. They were extradited to Sweden to face drug offence charges. NCA Branch Commander Lydia Bloomfield said this is a significant haul of Class A drugs brought in on a private plane in the hopes of avoiding detection. Farmer and Harvey were working together and organised crime groups to deal with them on the streets and also make their profit. So really interesting story about small aircrafts and importation attempts, and I look forward to hearing what viewers have to say on that story. In this next story, we're going to go to Bradford, and like the first story with the Queen Bee, this is a family affair. A mother called Farzana Korza, who's 54 years old, headed up the Bradford-based gang that imported 180 kilos via Birmingham Airport. They were doing this since August in 2024, the police believe, and 2 of her children that was involved were only teenagers at the time. The cocaine was being imported from Mexico and they were collecting it sometimes in Amsterdam, but mainly Birmingham Airport. Between August and November 2024, the defendants conducted at least 5 importations using the same method. They would book short 1 or 2 night trips to Dublin or Amsterdam without taking any luggage. They were specifically timed to coincide with the arrival of flights from Mexico. Upon arriving at Birmingham Airport, instead of collecting luggage from their own carousel, they would proceed directly to the Cancun carousel, where they would collect suitcases full of cocaine. They had been loaded unaccompanied on the Mexico flight. They would then walk through customs as though the bags were their own. The conspiracy was finally discovered on the 11th of November 2024 when the National Crime Agency arrested 6 defendants outside Birmingham Airport, and 6 suitcases containing 180 kilos of cocaine was discovered. The operation was predominantly just family, with Farzana Korza orchestrating the whole conspiracy. This involved her children and relatives, and only one defendant, Khalid Abdul Kawi from Dudley in the West Midlands, who was not a family member. He was a courier and he collected drugs and dropped them off on behalf of the group. The following defendants were sentenced in relation to conspiracy to provide Class A drugs and the controlled substance. Farzana Korza was jailed for 13 years and 4 months. Safa Noor, 19, from Bradford, was jailed for 7 years and 2 months. Mohammed Shafiq, 28 years old, from Bradford, was jailed for 8 years and 9 months. Umar Mohammed, 22 years old, was jailed for 8 years and 1 month. And Junaid Shafiq from Bradford was jailed for 10 years and 9 months. Khalid Abdul Kawi, 36, from Houso in Dudley, was jailed for 10 years and 9 months. Sarah Ingram from the Crown Prosecution Service said this was a very sophisticated and organised plot to flood the UK with high purity cocaine worth millions of pounds. What makes this case particularly concerning is that a mother recruited her own children to participate in serious organised crime. The defendants thought they'd devised a foolproof method to import drugs, but thanks to the vigilance and thorough investigation of the National Crime Agency and our prosecution, the criminal enterprise was brought to an end. By taking this organised crime group out of action, large amounts of drugs have been removed from circulation and can no longer go on the streets. Rick McKenzie, who was with the NCA, says, To her friends and family that knew her, she was a thoughtful and loving mum, and she seemed very normal. She was very well practiced in the life as a high-end drug trafficker, and she took great pains in deleting any trail of evidence. She led this crime group with dedication and determination, often instructing her children on how to smuggle the drugs effectively and what techniques to employ. She pushed her children into huge danger and has allowed their futures to be effectively destroyed. So I really look forward to hearing what viewers have to say on that story and the rest of the stories featured. Don't forget to catch up on the latest news by following online at Scarcity Studios on TikTok, Telegram, Twitter and Instagram. I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.